Tonight, courtside from the PEC on the campus of Coppin State University here in Baltimore, Maryland. It's Coppin State University men's basketball. Todd Bartley joined by Dan Mason as the Eagles play host to Jamion Christian's Mount St. Mary's Mountaineers. And Dan, the Eagles still in search of win number one, coming off the loss at West Virginia earlier this week, 77-38.
Well, I'll give you a good sign tonight, Todd. We walked in the arena tonight, ladies and gentlemen, and the assistant athletic director, Nicole Person, I said, Nicole, are we going to win tonight? And she goes, absolutely. And she knocked 3 times on wood, so that's a good sign.
That is indeed a good sign. Karan Davis out of Philadelphia, the graduate transfer, he's got the matchup, I would argue, in this non-conference schedule against all-NEC performer in the senior in Junior Robinson.
That's right. Junior Robinson was on the NEC all-tournament team last year. He scored 22 points in that big victory over St. Francis last year, as you would well remember. But it's interesting, Todd. The game they play here at Mount St. Mary's, they call it Mount Mayhem. Now, here's what that means. It's a high-pressure defense. They try to limit the opponent on the three-point arc, but yet offensively they are very dependent on a three-point shot. It reminds me, you look at their coach, Coach Jamin Christian. He was at VCU, and that's exactly the style of play that VCU plays in men's basketball.
Well, the interesting tie that binds for us, having connected at St. Francis University, Will Holland was on Rob Krimmel's staff. Being the Mount St. Mary's graduate that he is, Jamion said, well, why don't you come home? A couple of years ago, he did. And Will still run around in practice, shooting a three like he did back in a Mountaineers uniform back in the day at Mount St. Mary's. As you mentioned, creating that mayhem and showing these very young guys. And this roster has completely turned over. You got Robinson as a senior, Ray back in the starting lineup as a senior. Everybody else, Dan, it's freshmen.
A lot of freshmen, 12 out of 17. And let's take a look at the keys to the game on what it would take for the Eagles to win tonight. Here's what I think. We're going to have to shoot better shot selection tonight because 47% of our points have come from behind the arc. Now, you say 47%, wow, that's a good number, but not so much because what that says is that we're not getting to the paint enough to take the high percentage shot. So that's one thing that has to happen tonight, ladies and gentlemen. And also, there has to be lower turnovers. I believe that obviously we can't turn the ball over 28 times like we did against West Virginia. But I got to tell you something. Mount St. Mary's is an up-and-down team on turnovers as well. So it's very possible that they can have a bad night. Their pressure defense will have to contain that. We'll have to be not get trapped in those defensive two-person traps like we saw the last game we did with Coppin State and Maryland on the women's side. So we'll have to keep a watch on that. And I think another thing, may it be possibly slow this game down a bit, because I think that might throw Mount St. Mary's off a bit.
Now, with that said, with Chris Ray at 6'8" back in the lineup, and you've got the beast that is Ryan Gomes at 6'10", he's a sophomore. If they can contain Ray, who's a double-double guy, 12-12 a year ago, battled through injury through the early portion of the season, if they can contain him and limit Robinson's look from the outside, as you mentioned, within the confines of those keys, I think Coppin State's got a real opportunity to win that first game of the year tonight.
Well, they have played defense on big-name scores, as we saw in the Navy game with their leading scorer. They did a heck of a job on the Navy guard. But, in talking to people who know Mount St. Mary's basketball, and I asked the question, if Mount St. Mary's were to lose tonight, what would have caused that? A quick three-point answer. Number one, threes were way off the mark tonight, and they just couldn't hit the threes. Second, Coppin would have played a great defensive game tonight. And finally, the defense, the Mountaineers' own defense, seems to go up and down all the time. So that's not the most consistent defensive, not like the Maryland women, which we saw, which is a superb defensive team. So we'll see. There's some keys here that might turn the trick for us tonight.
I got another question in regard to the holiday. It's going to have to wait for Dan Mason because we're set up for a timeout here on the Buffalo Wild Wings Countdown to Tip-Off show here on the home of the Eagles, broadcasting in Baltimore on WNST AM 1570 and all around the world online for audio, foxsportswingsport.com, and also live video stream on CoppinStateSports.com. Back here to the PEC after a timeout on the Coppin State Sports Network. That court shot at the Physical Education Complex here on the campus of Coppin State University. Todd Barley rejoined by Dan Mason. And Dan, tonight, Mount St. Mary's is the opponent. Coppin State 0-12 on the year. They can't look at it that way.
Not at all. I mean, the series, you have to look at the series, too. Mount St. Mary's has a 5-0 lead in the series. It goes back to 1983. But also remember back, Todd, in the Eagles program, 2008, recall that one of the biggest wins Mount St. Mary ever had was a 69-60 win over Coppin State in the opening round of that NCAA tourney 2008. So I would imagine that Juan Dixon has mentioned that a time or two. I would love to see us come out strong. There's going to be a change in the starting lineup that you'll get to. I love that move. I think that speeds up our defense a lot tonight.
And it's going to be a defensive grind. It has to be to slow down the Mountaineers, who will deploy under Jamian Christian. Junior Robinson, 5'5", senior guard out of Meebane, North Carolina. He's an all-league selection, all-tournament team a year ago for the Mount. Jonah Antonio, 6'5", redshirt freshman out of Perth, Australia, will be the 2. Donald Carey, a 6'5", freshman out of Upper Marlboro, Maryland, is the 3. Chris Ray, back in the starting lineup for the Mountaineers at 6'8", a senior out of Shelby, North Carolina. He's a double-double guy in his career, and he's very, very good. You got to keep him off the glass. Ryan Gomes, 6'10", sophomore, Westminster, Maryland. He is what I like to refer to, ladies and gentlemen, and please don't have him call in and take this the wrong way. He's a paint filler. Yes. He really, really is a paint filler. You got to move him off the middle of the lane and get him off the block.
Well, at 6'10", that's a lot of real estate he takes up in there, but for sure.
So for Coppin State under Juan Dixon, his first year at the helm, here are the Eagles. Karan Davis, 6'2", graduate transfer out of Philadelphia, will lead the show. Trey Thomas, 6'3", senior out of Largo, Maryland, at the 2. It is 6'5", junior out of New York. Adam Traore at the 3. Lamar Morgan, 6'6", junior out of Willingboro, New Jersey, at the 4. And the change is going to be Chad Andrews Fulton, 6'7", athletic junior out of Philadelphia, at the 5. So there are the starting lineups tonight for Coppin State and Mount St. Mary's, getting set for the 6th all-time meeting between these two teams.
Mount St. Mary's is 5-7 going into this year. They've won the last 2, though, so they'd like to keep that win streak going. And to your question that you didn't ask yet, who wants to be here the most and take a win home before Christmas? I could make an argument for both sides. I'd like to see Coppin come back, and they've got a lesser amount of competition now. That's going to show improved play. But on the Mount side, those Mountaineers want to be 3-0 going into Christmas.
So back-to-back teams with nicknames of the Mountaineers. One number 10 in the country, one a defending conference champion. We'll bring it to you next on the home of the Eagles. That court side of the Physical Education Complex here on the campus of Coppin State University. Todd Bartley joined by Dan Mason and the cast of thousands that puts together the live video stream on CoppinStateSports.com. So, Dan, as we get set to close out the pre-Christmas non-conference schedule, oh, by the way, after Christmas, it gets no easier, on the road at Georgia Tech on Wednesday the 27th, and then on the road at Penn State Saturday the 30th. Now, there's one change to the time. Penn State has moved that game from a 2 o'clock to a 1 o'clock tip. Something about a bowl game the Nittany Lions are playing in later in the day at 4 o'clock. So they moved that up to 1 on the Bryce Jordan Center. We'll bring it to you on the Coppin State Sports Network. So these two teams, as you mentioned, very similar in a lot of aspects.
Well, I looked through the schedule, and I saw two common opponents that they played this year. One was Ohio, where the Mountaineers lost that game 96-77. Of course, we lost the game 80-37. But Georgetown, the Mountaineers were crushed 102-68, and that was one of the better games the Eagles played. They ended up losing by 16, but it was an excellent game.
Now, you mentioned the Georgetown game. The key to that entire situation, defense, the whole night.
And if you remember that, and we both watched that game, but Andrews Fulton came in about midway through, and I thought he sparked the defense.
Well, he's got a chore tonight because you look at 6'10 Ryan Gomes and 6'8 Chris Ray. Who do Morgan and Trayor then switch off on to defend? Because you got the freshman in Donald Carey on the other wing.
Well, one thing that they tell me that people who know the basketball program at Mount St. Mary's say that Chris Ray he'll drive the paint. He will slash. So we'll have to watch out for that one too. But I would think that the coaching staff under Juan Davis have got a defensive scheme together that would possibly stop this tonight.
Well, speaking of fun guards to watch, we know how fun Juan Clayton is to watch. He's in street clothes tonight, if you will, and hopefully he'll be back sooner rather than later. Would have loved to see him match up with Junior Robinson. However, it's Karan Davis at 6'2", a graduate transfer, taking on the 5'5 senior. Do not let the 5'5 fool you. This kid can jump out of the gym.
Yes, he can. And Karan, even though he does have a 7-inch height advantage, Karan Davis, you got to admit, is one of the most consistent players on the Eagles team.
Without question.
He's the leader. He's the point guard, so it's really good. Good point guard against good point guard. That's going to be a good matchup tonight.
Well, and to Karan's credit, he's got a great handle as a graduate transfer as the senior in Junior Robinson has. So this is going to be awesome to watch these two guys distribute the basketball to their teammates.
I would say it's a speed-on-speed matchup for sure. But having said that, Todd, there's got to be a way to slow this game down a bit because I do think that Mount St. Mary's has the edge on speed overall.
Agreed. And that said, before the opening tip today, we both saw earlier today untimely passing of a legend in our business. Mr. Dick Enberg passed away.
Great San Diego broadcaster. He did the Padres for years and worked at all the major networks and truly a role model for people like us.
So Mounts in the road blues, Coppin on the home whites. It's Davis, Thomas, Morgan, Trayor, and Andrews Fulton. For the Mountaineers, it's Robinson, Antonio, Carey, Ray, and Gomes. And it's going to be Ray to jump it up with Andrews Fulton. Little awkward tip. That's going to be controlled by the Mountaineers. They'll come right to left here in the opening half. Top side right, Robinson's got it. Bounce it off high right. In the hands of Carey. Lob it back to Robinson. Near side left. Morgan draws the defensive challenge first of all. Robinson goes back iron, no good. Last touched by Gomes, out of bounds.
Robinson had great footwork, right through the paint, put it right in like that. And now we should see Mount St. Mary's settle back into a zone defense. They played a man-to-man at the beginning of the year, but the last two games have been zone defenses.
Over the top on the trap, backdoor feed. Andrews Fulton right to the rack, missed it. It might have been partially blocked, got his own miss back, hands it off left of the lane in the hands of Trayor, and now Davis resets. Right corner kick out to Morgan, tried to skip it inside, intended for Trayor, and taken away by the Mount. Scoreless, 45 seconds in. Robinson on the catch right. Gets the play from the bench. Comes right to the Ray screen. Swings it near side left. Now for Carey. Carey going to his left. Reverse it off to Robinson between the rings. Backs it out with 13 to shoot. Robinson in the jump circle with 8. Down to 7. Down to 6. Ray pops out between the rings for the screen. Robinson steps to the head of the key for 3, and it was blocked. Loose ball to Trey Thomas. He'll come left to right. Now for Davis. Davis head of the key. Hands it back to his left to Traore. He walked. He took 2 steps backing up and now hands it off to Davis. Now to Traore. 15 to shoot. They hold the phone. And with the audio feedback in the gymnasium, they'll reset it to 15 with 18:33 to go in the opening half. It remains scoreless between Coppin State and Mount St. Mary's.
I think the official was going to open up an investigation on that. Where did that come from? We had Traore, he was like holding his ears from the piercing noise. They look a little bit more deliberate, don't you think, tonight?
Indeed. Yeah, more of a half-court offense being run. Davis, head of the key with 7 to shoot. Down to 5. Swings it far side left. Morgan on the catch with 2. Down to 1. Launches. Does Thomas. Back of the rim. No. Loose ball. And it's going to be picked up by Gomes.
Still no score. We've had 18-12.
Robinson now to Carey. Goes left of the lane. Step back jumpers on the way. Back of the rim. No good. Traore the rebound. He'll come back left to right. Now to Davis. Davis inside for Andrews Fulton. Knocked away by Ray. Here comes Robinson on the run back. Top side left. Hands it up to the trailing Gomes. Hand it back to Robinson. He'll reset it with 20 to shoot. Robinson near side left. Catch and fire. 3 by Antonio. Goes off the iron. No good.
So far, so good. A lot of second chances for the Mount.
Davis on the catch. Goes right to the rim. He was fouled on the way up. No call. And he's grabbing at his lower half. He got hit on the way up. Limping coming back the other way. Robinson now head of the key. Steps left. Wants to 3. It's on the way. High off the back iron. No. Ray taps it out. Antonio runs it down. He launches the 3 again. Right of the rim. No good. Scoreless with 17:15 to go in the half.
Good defense so far by Coppin State.
The snow's not supposed to be here with the cold weather for 2 more days, but it's ice cold right now, 3 minutes in. Davis now head of the key. 15 to shoot. Hands it off to Traore. Draws 3 different defenders. Back to Davis. Hands it off to Andrews Fulton across the iron and good.
That was a great play right there. A lot of patience, deliberate. Got it inside the paint and he put it in.
Coppin State with a 2-0 lead. 16:45 to go in the opening half. Carey's got it, trying to come around the Ray screen. He does to the right. Hands it back to Ray, head of the key. Ball screen handoff. Antonio wants a 3 for the lead, and he rattles it home.
Antonio finally hits one from there. He's 1 for 3 from out there tonight.
3-2 Mount St. Mary's, 16.5 to go first half. Traore and Davis playing 2-man in the backcourt. Now bounce it ahead to Andrews Fulton. Right wing behind the arc, down to Davis, head of the key. Davis coming to his left. On the bounce, defended by Robinson. Reverse it right side to Thomas, 10 to shoot. Trey back to Davis, and we got a whistle and a travel.
That was a travel on Davis. And you can hear Coach Dixon, move the ball, move the ball.
DeAndre Fair checks in. He'll replace Karan Davis. Greg Alexander has checked in for Mount St. Mary's. And he replaces Ryan Gomes. Far side right, Thomas. All over Carey. Give it up near side left, Alexander. Back to the right side to Carey. Trying to turn right, poked away. Stolen by Fair. Ahead of the pack now to Morgan. Morgan running strong to the rack. He got fouled on the way by.
Finally got that call, Todd. A lot of contact all night long underneath the basket, but Coppin State got the call that time.
It's on Chris Ray. Check that. Junior Robinson got him on the blow-by. That's his first on either team. And Mount St. Mary's will make a change after the timeout. It comes with 15:53 to go here in the opening half. It is Mount St. Mary's leading Coppin State 3-2 on the Coppin State Sports Network.
Don't forget to visit CoppinStateSports.com to get the latest information on Coppin athletic events, and visit CoppinGear.com to get your CSU apparel. It's where the home team always shops. Score 3-2 in the early going. Mount St. Mary's on top, but Coppin State's at the line with 15:53 to go. Here's Todd.
Dan, thanks very kindly. Don't forget, the next home game comes early in the new year. It's Savannah State, Saturday, January 6th, 2 o'clock for the women's tip, 4 o'clock for the men's tip. Again, the foul was on Junior Robinson. That's his first of the game. Comes at 15:53, and Morgan will tie us at 3 with the first of 2 attempts.
Big rate if Morgan had a big night like he did a few games ago when he launched up 30.
Well, he got them both right there. Second lead change on 2 Morgan makes. So his 2 free throws and the Andrews Fulton 0-footer, if you will, have Coppin in front by 1. 15:45 to go, first half. Robinson reversed it off to Ray, head of the key. Hands it off to Robinson, your side left. Robinson, 13 to shoot, steps inside the free throw line, puts the jumper on the rim, and it fell off. Rebound to Morgan, now to Fair. The change, by the way, for the Mount, they brought in Bobby Planutis. He's in their first 7-man rotation. It's going to be an offensive foul. Robinson took the charge on the forearm shiver issued by Trey Thomas.
Bobby Planutis is a 6'8 freshman forward from Hazleton, Pennsylvania. One of 12 freshmen on the team.
A District 2 in the PIAA product out of Hazleton. Carries back in. He'll bring it to the forecourt, hand it off. Planutis gave it back to Antonio. Now right side. Carey with the handle, now head of the key. Planutis going to his left, picked up the bounce. Lob it off that Alexander, 15 to shoot. Far side right now to Carey. Coming left to the head of the key. Runs around Morgan, line to the lane, scoops it up to the rim, and good.
Well, that's what they told us, that Carey would slash the lane like that. It came to fruition that time as the Mount leads 5-4.
14:45 to go in the half. Thomas against the pressure. Now to Fair, far side left. Now back to Thomas. Back to Fair, far side left. Now to Thomas, head of the key. Shot clock to 12. Back to Fair. Left side step in 3 is on the way. Good. And Fair puts Coppin State back on top, 7-5.
Coach Dixon still instructing the team to keep moving the ball.
Planutis hands it off down to Antonio. Ball screen handoff back to Carey. Carey trying to go right, got caught in traffic. Reverse it off down to Planutis. Left side just inside the arc, Alexander. Ball screen handoff back to Carey. Planutis goes baseline left, right to the rim, scoop and score with the right hand. And we're tied at 7.
Used all 6'8 of his height that time, Todd, to lay it right in.
Fair and Thomas playing 2 men in the backcourt. Thomas up the ladder to grab it. Swings it far side left down to Fair. Fair back to Thomas. Thomas swings it right corner. Mulling over that 3 out of that corner and bumped off out of bounds.
I think we might get a foul here.
Indeed, Chris Ray with his first. That gets Gomes back in the game. He'll replace Antonio. Check that. Ray checks out. Antonio getting an earful from Coach Christian as he exits. Junior Robinson came back in.
Cedric Council also enters the game for Andrews Fulton.
7-all, 13:48 to go opening half. Thomas to inbound from the baseline. Looking. Lob to the top. Set on the catch. Ball screen hand up to Thomas. 5 high with the right hand is the call from Juan Dixon. Right side Thomas wants that 3 ball. Back of the rim, no good. Weak side rebound to Alexander. Now for Carey into the forecourt. Coming right to the Gomes screen. Now back to Alexander, near side left. Planutis back between the rings, 13 to shoot. Left side Alexander coming back to his right. Now to Planutis, 10 to shoot. Planutis looking for Robinson, near side left, 7 to shoot. Back to Planutis, head of the key with 5. Down to 4. Alexander gives it up back door, and Carey's shot is blocked, and now we got a whistle and a foul as the shot clock ran out.
A lot of contact there, Todd, but let me tell you something. There's just as much contact the other way, and Coppin State didn't get that call.
Traore with his first, and I mean at the horn of the shot clock running out. Davis will replace Lamar Morgan.
I think the Eagles have done a better job tonight of utilizing the shot clock to their advantage. A little bit more patience, not shooting, not being too impatient with the ball.
So Carey inbound on the non-shooting foul from the baseline, looking, gets it in far side right. Gomes hands it back on the ball screen to Carey. Carey back between the rings to Robinson. He'll reset it with 25 to shoot. Robinson weaving his way around the Gomes screen, trying to go back door to Gomes. He shuffled the feet in the lane, but scores nonetheless. And the Mount back on top, 9-7. So now Davis and Thomas again in the backcourt playing two-man. Up the left corner to Fair. Now to Davis between the rings. Gave it up to Thomas, left side. Now to Davis, head of the key. Davis, left side to Thomas. And I believe he's whistled for a travel. He is. That brings Antonio back to the scorer's table. He'll replace Planutis for the Mount. That comes with 12:36 to go in the half. The Mount in front of Coppin State, 9-7. Carey coming right to left, out of the jump circle, defended by Trey Thomas. Bounce it off to Robinson. Top side left Alexander. Gave it back to his right to Carey, and a blocking foul called as Thomas, I believe, tried to hedge through the screen. That's his second. That brings Lucian Brownlee to the scorer's table to replace Trey Thomas.
Junior Robinson kind of lured him into that blocking foul right there.
Off the inbound carry from the far side. Gets it into Robinson. Robinson, left hand bounce. Trying to get around Fair. Hand it off to Gomes. He gives it up to Antonio. Head of the key. 10 to shoot. Lob it back near block. Extended Gomes. Facing up. Ball screen handoff back to Carey. Coming left with a 15-footer. Back of the rim. No. Gomes. Volleyball taps it out. And Robinson will reset it right at the jump circle. Robinson coming left to right. Nearly lost the handle at the left elbow. Robinson got Traore off his feet, gave it up to Gomes, and he punches it with two hands. 11-7 Mount St. Mary's, a 6-0 run. Traore now in the backcourt, gave it back to Davis. Carran's in the forecourt now, left of the jump circle, as we close in on 11.5 minutes to go first half. Davis bounce it high right to Brownlee. Back into the key to Davis. Back to Brownlee. Brownlee coming to his left. Bounce it back to Davis. Left of the lane. Now kicks it back out right side. Traore wants a three. Rim it off. Rebound Alexander. Robinson with the handle. Head of the key. Hesitation dribble. Kicks it back out right side. Alexander for three, and it's good. Alexander's three makes it a 14-7 Mount St. Mary's lead.
Mountaineers heating up a bit now. Starting to hit the three-point shot. Coppin State needs to gather himself a little bit and slow it down.
9 unanswered. Brownlee to Traore. Kick out right side to Council. Swings it all the way back top side left to Davis. Stepping to his right. He got an answered three off. Back of the rim, no. Gomes the rebound. Hands it off to Robinson, and Robinson very calmly brings it right to left. If you're watching on TV, it's opposite that, by the way. Robinson with 10:35 and counting opening half. Approaches head of the key, comes left to the Gomes screen, launches the three, back of the rim, no good. Rebound Traore over the top. Fair gives it up to Davis, back to Traore. Got caught in midair, kicks it out left corner to Fair for three. It's on the way side of the window, no good. Robinson with it as we close in on 10:15 and counting opening half. Robinson around Fair, line, lane, right to the rim, blocked by Traore. Compton's got numbers the other way if they can get going. Instead, Traore will bring it cautiously to the forecourt.
Great block that time by Traore. You kind of stuffed it right on Robinson.
Far side left Davis. Davis, head of the key, swings it right side to Traore. Now to Davis, head of the key. He wants that three in the worst way and got it.
Mount St. Mary's had fallen back through the paint, and it left Carran wide open, and he nailed it too.
14-10 Mount with 9:35 to go. Opening half. Carey with it. Now between the rings to Robinson. Coming left. Hands it off to Alexander. Right side kick out. Carey wants a three. Back of the rim, no good. Rebound to Fair. He'll bring it left to right to the forecourt. Up the left side. Brownlee catch and fire three. It's on the way. Rim halfway down and out. Councils follow. Rim. It lipped off. Got a great look. Dan just couldn't finish.
Tough shot to lose. Tough shot to lose on that one.
So here comes Carey right to left to the jump circle. Top side right. Now for Alexander. High left. Now to Antonio. 12 to shoot. Reverse it off to Robinson between the rings. Far side right now to Carey. Back to Robinson. 6 to shoot. Robinson. Line. Lane. Lost it in the lane. Got it back. Kicked it out right side. Carey at the horn. Wave it off. Shot clock violation. And they're not going to review it, at least at this moment. 8:44 to go, opening half. Mount St. Mary's leads Coppin State 14-10 back after a 60-second timeout on the Coppin State Sports Network.
Well, 5 turnovers in the early going has hurt the Eagles a bit here, Todd, but they're making wholesale substitutions right now. We'll check and see who's coming back in the game. We've got 8:44 if you just joined us in the first half. Mount St. Mary's up by 4 at 14-10.
Yeah, that 9-0 run to go out 14-7. And then the answer triple by Karan Davis, much needed.
Well, we got to make these field goals. We're shooting 25% right now. Mount St. Mary's not on fire either at 33%. So, we still have a ways to go here, but we can pull this off and we just keep deliberate.
So Thomas to inbound from the far sideline. Keep in mind he's playing with 2 early fouls at the 8:44 mark of the opening half. Looks left, goes to his right, gave it up to Davis. Andrews Fulton came back to set the screen. Davis says, I'm good. Into the forecourt now. Hands it off to Thomas.
Jordan Harvick just checked into the game.
As well as James West IV for the Mount. Davis head of the key with 14 to shoot. Launches at 3. Got another one. Davis now with 6. The margin is 1 at 14-13. Mount.
If they can pull, if that Davis can keep shooting like that, they'll have to guard him and pull out to where it'll give us a chance to get to the paint a little bit better.
Robinson another right corner now back to Ray. Ray shovels it off to his left. To West IV. Top side left now. Into the hands of Antonio. Back to Robinson. 10 to shoot. Now to West. Launches a 3. Flat-footed, and he buried it. 17-13. Mount St. Mary's with 7:50 to go first half. Thomas, far side left to Davis. Davis over the top. Finds Andrews Fulton. Hands it back to Davis. Left to the jump circle. 15 to shoot. Davis trying to go left. Coming back to his right. Now to Thomas. A 3-ball on the way. Back of the rim. No good. Rebound Antonio.
Mount St. Mary's did a great job boxing out on the rebound that time.
Robinson, defended by Morgan. Reverse it off to Antonio. His 3 hit the back iron, no. Ray the rebound. Bounce it back to Robinson. He'll reset it. So now Robinson between the rings. Coming to his left around the Ray screen. Hesitation. Dribble at the left elbow. Kick out left corner. 3-ball for Alexander. Rimming off. Rebound to Morgan. Leaves it for a trailing Davis. Davis gets the play from Juan Dixon. Now enters the forecourt. As we go under 7 minutes to go first half. Andrews Fulton calling for that ball left of the lane. He gets it, goes strong to the glass, the rim, no good. Got the look, just couldn't finish. Right to left comes Junior Robinson. Top side left, he'll back it out, 20 to shoot. Ray now bounce it back door, deflected away, and last touch by Coppin State.
Good defense.
By Jordan Hardwick.
Good defense. Slapped it away. Very alert, and give Mount St. Mary's another chance at it. But that's heads-up defense.
So it brings us to the under 8 media timeout. 6:34 to go first half. It is Mount St. Mary's 17, Coppin State 13. Back after this 60-second timeout on the Coppin State Sports Network.
Travel in confidence and enjoy the comfort of spacious studio accommodations at Town Place Suites, Baltimore BWI Airport. Less than 10 miles from downtown Baltimore, your home away from home is waiting for you. That's the Town Place Suites, Baltimore BWI Airport, the official home for Coppin State Athletics.
17-13 Mount St. Mary's leading Coppin State. 6:34 to go in the opening half. And pace of play, Dan, we talked about it in the open. I think it favors Coppin State right now. They've slowed it down.
They have slowed it down. We just got to keep the turnover ratio down. We have 5 right now. They have 5 assists. We have 3. We have 5 turnovers. They have only 2.
Antonio, step back from 15 feet. Rim it off. Rebound to Morgan. Bounce it back to Davis. Davis into the forecourt now. Far side left to Morgan. Catch and fire, trailing 3, and it's good. That's the no. Yep. 17-16 Mount.
That was not just a 3, Todd. That was a 3.5 shot. He was way beyond the arc.
So now right to left, carry the handle. Just inside the arc, gave it up to Ray. Hands it off on a ball screen to Robinson at the free throw line. Now to Antonio, near side left to Ray, trying to back his way in on Andrews Fulton. Draws a double team for a moment. 10 to shoot. Coming right to left as he backs in. Now to Robinson between the rings. Ray pops out, sets that high screen. 4 to shoot. Robinson rises, fires, and drained it. Junior Robinson's first field goal puts Mount St. Mary's in front 19-16.
And he got that shot over 2 defenders at arm's length up. Very impressive.
Davis. Now for Traore. Back to Davis. Into the forecourt, far side left. 5.5 to go. Shot clock to 15. Davis, head of the key, now backs it out 13, 12, 11. Approaching the Traore screen. Goes to the right. Swings it out left side. Morgan wants that 3 ball one more time. Right of the rim, no good. That was closer than 3.5.
If Morgan would have made that, that would have really had to have changed the Mount St. Mary's defensive scheme, I bet.
Carey hands it back to Ray on the deflection. Bounce it off to Robinson, far side right. Robinson around that Ray screen. One more time, back between the rings, 15 to shoot. Robinson going right elbow. Blocked out of midair by Morgan. Now a late whistle and a foul.
That was a very late whistle. They're going to call Morgan for the foul.
Antonio exits. Planuta set to check back in. Alexander's going to replace Robinson after the free throw attempt. Don't let that 5-5 fool you. I'm telling you.
He's very quick, has the ability to use his footwork to his advantage.
So now Robinson line left, puts it on the way. That's good. 2016, Mount St. Mary's.
Got more substitutions now. Alexander in the game for Mount St. Mary's, and also Bobby Platunas is back in.
Yeah, he came in and got Omar Hobway, who had checked in for a couple of minutes. Second free throw's on the way, good. Robinson got them both. Give him 4 points and make it a 5-point Mountaineers lead at 21-16. Less than 5 minutes to go first half. Fair, off the deflection by Robinson, and he gathers it in on the bounce. Right side, Alexander wants a 3, and it's good. His second three gives him 6.5, and that lead, just like that, right to 8 points.
Points off the turnover that time for Mount St. Mary's was costly for the Eagles.
So with the time on the floor, we'll keep it right here. A couple of big runs by the Mount. 9-0, you take a 7-point lead at 14-7. Coppin cut it to 1 at 17-16. A little 9-3 run of their own.
Well,
and now a 7-0 run to make it 24-16.
I do believe, Todd, I'll stick to my guns here. You've got to keep this game at an even pace, not get out of control, then that will eliminate some of the turnovers. And just be patient, get the ball to the paint.
So now this next 44 seconds to get us to 4 minutes even, to roughly a minute. Critical for Coppin State to keep it at a single-digit deficit closing out this opening half before that media timeout comes. And Mount tries to speed him up. Davis through the press. That's going to be an offensive foul. He put an elbow right in the chin of Junior Robinson.
Hard to get by with that one. That was a good call by the official.
I will assure you, having seen Robinson play the last 4 years, he's going to frustrate you.
And when you can't get, he's all over you, and sometimes it looks like he will hook you. But that time, Karan he did a full force block on him. I mean, that was an easy call for the ref.
So now Carey hands it off to Ray. Ray with 4.5 to go in the half, hands it back to Carey on the right wing. Coming back to his left. Give it back to the right. Planutis down to the far block. Ray coming to his left, swings it near side left, and out of bounds.
Turnover there for Mount St. Mary's. It's only their third.
So Council replaces Andrew Fulton in the Coppin State lineup. Not that you want to be down by 8, but the pace of play and the deficit, right where Coppin, I would argue, wants it. A couple of possessions difference. Fair to the forecourt, now to Traore, left side to Morgan, gave it back to Traore, now to Fair. Top side right to Davis, 18 to shoot. Davis on the bounce, coming to his right. Line, lane, kick out left side. Morgan, left corner, and a traveling violation on Traore. And that brings us to the under 4 media timeout. It comes with 3:57 to go first half. Mount St. Mary's leads Coppin State 24-16. Back after this 60-second timeout on the Coppin State Sports Network.
We're back. Mount St. Mary's 24, Coppin State 16, 3:57 to go. And we'll glance over the sheet that they give us for stats here. Coppin State shooting only 29%, and Mount St. Mary's 37% right now. Total rebounds is Coppin State's only down by 1 in that department, 14-13, but has more defensive rebounds. But turnovers is a game. We have 7 so far. Mount St. Mary's 3.
Back-to-back on the inbound play, the far side, and then the baseline turnover by Traore. Mount St. Mary's the lead of 24-16. 3:45 to go in the half. Kick out by Carey to the right side. Antonio, step-back jumper, glances right at the rim, no good. Rebound to Morgan.
Nobody underneath that time for the Mountaineers. There's 3 Coppin players, and they easily get the rebound.
Davis to Fair, back to Davis. Davis around the Council screen. Pull up in the lane is good. Karan Davis now with 8.
That's the way to do it, Todd. You got to drive the paint, and Karan got an easy 10-footer there.
24-18, the Mount by 6. Carey with it, now hands it off to Ray. Far side of the right, now to Robinson. Robinson, penetration of the right elbow, swings it back to Alexander. Step in 3 is on the way, good again. His third three of the half. Makes it 27-18. Mount St. Mary's under 3 minutes to go first half. Fair off the deflection, picked up by Traore. Hands it back to Fair. Top side right to Davis. Davis coming around the Council screen to the head of the key. There he finds Carey defensively. Council left of the lane, turnaround, rim it off. Rebound to Chris Ray. 2:35 to go first half.
Council had a wide open shot that time. It was uncontested. It's like 10 feet.
Robinson around the Ray screen. Bounce it back for Ray. Directs traffic and points Alexander to his right. Hands it off to Carey. Carey curling down the lane. Fights it up to the left. Score it and a foul.
You could see that one coming, Todd. Carey slowly going around the right-hand side of the perimeter and just turned on the burners to drive through the center and laid it up and gets the end. And he's going for the and one.
There, the foul is first. Line left. That free throw on the way and good for Carey. Give him 5. 30-18, the Mount by 12. Here comes the mayhem as they turn up the press. Davis and Fair. Back to Davis in the forecourt, right at the jump circle. 2:10 and counting, first half. Davis against the 2-3 zone, comes right at the Council screen. Step back three off the right wing is on the way, right of the rim, no good. Rebound to Ray. Quick outlet now to Robinson. Robinson in no hurry as he enters the forecourt. Goes opposite the Ray screen, reverse it off to Ray, head of the key. Top side left. Alexander wants a three again. Traore got a piece of it on the way by. Sent it wide to the right. Left side answer three. Left of the rim, no good. Rebound to Robinson. So Morgan, after hitting that three from well beyond the arc, has gone ice cold. Robinson has stepped in from the head of the key. Rim it off. Davis the rebound. Less than 90 seconds to go in the half. Davis on the run out around the Council screen. Bounce it off the Fair. Goes baseline right. Nearly lost the handle. Swings the top side of the left. Traore hands it back to Fair. 15 to shoot. Traore jump stop in the lane. Back of the rim, no good. Council the rebound and follow. Front of the rim again, and he missed it. Follows it up again. Blocked emphatically by Alexander. Traore top side right as we approach a minute to go in the half. Now back to Fair. Got to get a good look here, Dan.
Eagles have had 3 chances now at this one. Need this offensive possession.
Davis has Morgan to his left. Morgan on the catch at the MEAC logo, far side. Davis head of the key with 12. Back to Morgan with 11. Down to 10. Far side left Council. Get it to Traore. Jump stop in a lane. Glass rim, no good.
Tough one. Tough missed shot. He was pretty much, he had one hand from a defender, but not near him.
Robinson now to the jump circle. Shot clock to 18. Robinson around the Ray screen. Line, lane, and he got bumped off. 21.4 to go. Shot clock turned off. Traore picks up his second.
You think about some of those shots, Todd, that look like pretty gimme-type shots, and add those up, and we'd be a lot closer down by 12.
That's at least 3-4 easy on the doorstep attempts. So Robinson at the free throw line puts it on the way and good. So he'll get the bonus of the one and bonus to make it 31-18. Mount St. Mary's with the lead. Second attempt is on the way. Front of the rim, no good. Rebound to Morgan. Now for Davis. 15 to go. Swings it. Far side left. Fair wants a three. Good. DeAndre Fair's second three. Give him 6. 31-21. Here comes Junior Robinson across the time stripe. Between the rings with 4. Down to 3. Goes right of the lane. Right to the rim. Glass and good at the horn. Junior Robinson.
Junior Robinson holds one hand up in the air. That was really good. That was a good shot by Junior Robinson. That looked good.
At the break, it's Mount St. Mary's leading Coppin State 33-21. Back with the sounds of the first half on WNST AM 1570. Then Dan and I will come back and recap the opening half. Also visit with head coach Juan Dixon here at the break. Mountaineers in front of the Eagles 33-21 on the Coppin State Sports Network. Back here at the Physical Education Complex, Coppin State University. Todd Barley joined by Dan Mason. At the break, it's Mount St. Mary's 33, Coppin State 21. 16-5 closeout run by the Mount, Dan, late in that opening half. And Junior Robinson, exclamation point, with the layup at the horn.
Well, let's keep in mind, Todd, that Coppin State is basically a second-half team. We've seen them play better ball in the second half. And I think we'll see the same thing tonight. But here's what has to happen. They have to be deliberate and keep the game at a slower pace. That they cannot run against Mount St. Mary's like that, because that's the kind of game Mount St. Mary's wants Coppin to go into. But Coppin needs to slow it down, make sure you get the right shot, and they've gotten some really good shots in the paint tonight. They just haven't fallen. I mean, uncontested shots from maybe 7 to 10 feet.
And in.
And zero feet. So that's what we have to do, I believe. But we're all pulling for them.
Now, foul situation. Trey Thomas and Adam Traore each with 2. So Juan Dixon in the second half. Let's see if he has them both on the floor at the same time, because they have those 2 fouls each as we get ready for the second half.
Well, I think one key to it that I hope Coach Dixon does is to keep Andrew Fulton in there as long as he does, because he has no personal fouls right now. But he just, I don't know, that might be just me, but it seems to me like there's a little bit of spark and magic when he's in the game. It's almost like you can't predict what's going to happen in the paint, and that's where we need to help the most.
You mentioned the rebounding advantage to the Eagles. Primarily for Mount St. Mary's, Chris Ray has been their primary rebounder.
And we know that he, as you predicted during the break, he could be slashing the paint, because that's what he's known for here.
And he's been held scoreless. That's the upside. Even though he has the 7 rebounds to keep possessions alive, he's been held off the board scoreless.
Well, if you look at the scoring now for the Mount, Greg Alexander has 9 points, and Junior Robinson has 7. Those are the leading scorers. Donald Carey, 5, and Gomes has 4. Basically, a couple of stuffs underneath the basket that we saw. On the Eagles side, we have Karan Davis playing basically a really good game tonight. He has 8 points. We dropped down after that to Keandre Fair at 6, and Lamar Morgan has 5, and launching, let's see here, on 3-point plays, Lamar is 1 for 3, Karan is 2 for 4, team overall 5 for 14. First half, Coppin State only shot 26.9%, and the Mount back up to 40.
Quick timeout, come back with second half after this 60-second timeout on the Coppin State Sports Network.
Don't forget to stay social with your favorite conference. Search MEAC Sports on Facebook, Twitter, and Instagram for day-to-day updates on everything MEAC. And don't forget to listen to all Coppin State basketball home games on Fox Sports Williamsport and Baltimore's WNST 1570 AM. Proud partners of Coppin State Athletics.
33-21, Mount St. Mary's leading Coppin State at the break. Now, as we bring into second half, Coppin will be coming toward their bench as they went opposite that in the opening half. And let's see if Gomes and Ray come back to begin the second half as starters, as they open the game that way.
Well, one thing with Coppin in front of their own bench, you can bet Juan Dixon is going to be doing some heavy coaching this second half. And let's keep in mind that Coppin State is a second half team. I don't want to forget about that. They always seem to spark up in the second half.
Speaking of listening all season long, road contest for the men at Penn State Saturday, December 30th. Now, it's been moved up by Penn State to 1 o'clock because they're playing a bowl game later in the day at 4. You want to put an over-under on the number of people that will be inside the Bryce Jordan Center when Penn State's playing a bowl game and their men's basketball team's playing at 1?
Nope.
Maybe 100 people? Maybe?
Oh, I don't know. Maybe they have some diehard fans that'll be there.
Should be a good one because I think Coppin State's going to go in there and have a great showing because I think they may be focused on the football team as opposed to the basketball court that day.
Don't forget our next home game is Savannah State coming to town January 6th. Women's basketball at 2, men at 4. Todd and I will be with you.
So Davis will inbound, or will Trey Thomas be the inbounder? It's going to be Mr. Morgan to inbound from the far sideline to get us going in the second half.
Andrews Fulton back in the game to start the second half with Trayor. We have Thomas. We have Karan Davis. And we have... Who did I miss there?
Well, the turnover is not the way to start the second half. So here comes Carey. Mount deployed their starting 5, as did Coppin. Robinson's got it high left. Morgan, that's who you're missing. He's defending Robinson. Coming right to the screen from Antonio. Robinson, step-in jumper, rimming off, rebound to Morgan.
Nice rebound by Morgan. Took it right away from a Mount St. Mary's defender.
So now Davis, top side right, draws the double team, bounce it off to Thomas, down to the doorstep. Trayor, right block, reverse it off to Davis, head of the key.
Andrew Fulton was wide open, Todd, in the paint that time.
Trayor runs it up, and he got blocked and ends up on the floor. It's on Gomes. That's his first.
That was a rather hard foul, too. Trayor hit the floor and looked up to the scoreboard and kind of had to take a deep breath there. He'll get 2 shots.
First one's on the way. Back of the rim, side of the rim, good. We'll take it. 33-22, substitution being made. Ray is going to check out for Mount St. Mary's. Greg Alexander's back in with those 3 threes in the opening half. Second Trayor free throw, back of the rim, no good. Gomes over everybody for the rebound. So keeping an 11-point deficit at 33-22, Mount St. Mary's.
Important to stay close to the Mount so they can make that run.
Carey, far side left now to Antonio. Bounce it down to Gomes. Gomes, a right-hand turnaround, rim and good. He's got 6. 35-22, Mountaineers.
6'10", Ryan Gomes, a sophomore from Westminster, Maryland. That's a hard one to defend.
Davis tried to go drive and kick and turned it over.
2 turnovers already in the first minute and a half.
Hardwick replaces Andrews Fulton in the Coppin State lineup. 18:36 to go. Carey coming left to right, approaching head of the key. Far side left now to Antonio. Now to Gomes. Turns right again, spins it up and good.
That's going to become a problem, Todd. They're going to have to stop Gomes in the center of the paint like that.
37-22, here comes the press. Davis to the forecourt, lined in a lane, ran into a defender, and it's an offensive foul on Karan Davis as Gomes took the charge.
That was a good call. Gomes, he had position, had his feet set, and Karan just drove right into him. Substitution, Bobby Platunas now for the Mount. He'll replace Ronald Carey.
Inbound comes to Robinson. He'll come left to right. Robinson out of the jump circle, approaching head of the key, defended by Morgan. Comes right at the screens as there were multiple set with 15 to shoot. He'll They'll back it all the way out. Now for Alexander, who set that screen. Shovel it back door to Gomes, right past him, and Davis runs the other way. Looks left corner the entire way down the floor. Now to Thomas, head of the key. Right of the lane, shovel off now by Hardwick, and that comes long left.
I think he might have blocked partially on that. There's a partial block.
Robinson coming left to right. Runs it to the doorstep. Kick out left corner. 3 ball on the way. Rim it off for Antonio. Rebound, Traore. Coppin's got numbers 5 on 3 the other way. Traore, kick out left corner. Morgan, a touch pass for Thomas. His 3 balls on the way. Left to the rim and off. Rebound, Alexander.
Got to slow it down a little bit. Work to the paint. You can pass up on some of those threes.
So now Robinson in between the rings. 3 minutes into the second half. Goes high left to Antonio, and we're going the other way on a reach, I believe, by Gomes. He hooked his defender, trying to block him off. And indeed, that is the call.
Substitutions now. Cedric Council in the game, and also Keandre Fair replaces Thomas and Andrews Fulton.
Fair on the inbound, now to Davis. Davis gave it back to Fair. Out of the trap to Morgan, now to Davis. Davis up the right corner. Now for Hardwick after a bounce, gave it back to Morgan. Now to Davis, far side right, 15 to shoot. Top side left to Morgan. Morgan after a bounce, back to Davis. 10 to shoot. Kick out left corner. Fair, dribble drive. Kick it to Council. His shot is blocked.
A lot of contact, a lot of traffic there. Nothing called.
16 and a half to go, 37-22. Mount St. Mary's. Robinson around the Lanuda's screen, goes strong on Council and scores with the right hand. Robinson now with 9.
He's got incredible strength in his arms like that. You can see he can baseball a cross-court pass with his hands at his waist level. Pretty impressive.
39-22 on the catch by Morgan. He'll take a timeout. It comes with 16:10 to go second half. With Mount St. Mary's leading Coppin State 39-22 back after a 60-second timeout on the Coppin State Sports Network.
Longest lead of the night right now. Mount St. Mary's 39 and Coppin State 22. We have 16:10 left in the game. And here's Todd.
Dan, thanks very kindly. And Juan Dixon imploring his team, stay with it.
You got to hang in there and you got to execute. There's still a couple of runs left in Coppin State.
So now Morgan inbounds for Davis. Far side of the right to Fair. Fair. Morgan with it between the rings for 3. Back of the rim, no good. Battle for the rebound. Traore tipped it, but it's Planutas coming away with it.
That was a long 3 again by Morgan. Off the mark.
So now for Carey. Carey between the rings, defended by Fair. Coming left of the Planutas screen. Runs it down to the doorstep, and we're going the other way. Stepping out of bounds on the baseline will bring us to the under 16 media timeout. 15:43 to go second half. It remains Mount St. Mary's 39, Coppin State 22. Back after a 60-second timeout on the Coppin State Sports Network.
We're back from the media timeout. Mount St. Mary's 39 and Coppin State 22. Still believe, though. A couple of runs left. Stay with us.
Yeah, this 15:43, Dan, to the 12-minute mark, that under 12 media timeout. This is the game right here, 39-22. Mount St. Mary's leading Coppin State. Inbound comes to Fair. Out of the double-team trap. Now to Traore. Now for Fair. Into the forecourt, and he just beat the 10-second count. Now for Davis. Davis coming left to the double screen. Picks it up. Swings it right corner. Fair. Clean look at a three. It's on the way. Off the window, too strong. And it's last touch by Mount St. Mary's. 6 to shoot.
That was close. But the ball goes back to the Eagles.
Davis from the sideline in front of the Coppin bench to inbound.
Cedric Council standing in the middle of the paint. It would be great to get him this ball to go up over Ray.
Davis looking. Bounces it into Traore. Faces. Gives it up to Davis. Got a good look at a three. Goes wide to the right and out of bounds. Got the look he wanted, just no legs.
That was an air ball that time. We always say when you see those air balls like that, you're concerned about fatigue setting in.
So 15-10 to go. It remains 39-22. Mount St. Mary's leading Coppin State. Now for Carey between the rings to Robinson. Robinson bounce it off to Ray. Ray gives it up right side to Carey. Coming left against Fair. Right side Alexander. Bounce it down to Ray. 12 to shoot. Handled off on a ball screen now to Carey. Reversing off to Robinson. 8 to shoot. Defended by Morgan. Robinson going left to the free throw line. Jump stop in the lane. Fights it up over Morgan. Left of the rim. No. Tapped up by Ray to the window. Robinson with a fadeaway, and he got it. Robinson with 11.
Junior Robinson was in the right place, the right time. The ball bounced into his hands, and he nails it from 6 feet.
41-22, Mount St. Mary's. Traore on the catch. Hands it back to Davis. Davis backs it out far side right. Now Traore sets a screen head of the key. Davis, top side left to Morgan. 7 to shoot. Orbit dribble head of the key. Right corner kick out. Council steps back, wanted the three, and it's going to be, I believe, Planutis with the block, but he stepped out of bounds. 1 to shoot.
Obviously, we got to hurry this time. That was a great block by Planutis.
This is catch and fire with 1 full second. Davis from the far side to inbound. Swings it into Morgan. Glasson good at the horn.
How about that? That was pretty. Davis, Morgan was standing at the top of the key and just met it in midair and laid it in.
41-24. First made field goal for Coppin State, quite some time. Kick out, right corner three, rimming off, out of the hand of Carey. Here comes Traore. Traore head of the key, finds Morgan left side. Left corner kick out to Fair for three, off the side of the window, no. Council the rebound, hold the phone, a foul on the floor.
This is going to go against Mount St. Mary's.
It's on Alexander. That's his first. And Dan, that came on that very demonstrative rebound attempt by Council.
Council, yes, sir, did. Council went up for it, and he was fouled.
So Robinson's going to check out, replaced by West, who saw time in the opening half, scored a three-point field goal. He will defend against Davis looking to inbound. It's also going to be Andrews Fulton back in the Coppin lineup on the far block. Davis to inbound from the baseline, looking, got to get it in. He does. Boy, he just beat the 5 count. Andrews Fulton hands it off on a ball screen to Davis. Davis, far side right, 15 to shoot. Coming to his left, line to the lane, ducks in, glass rim, no, but a whistle and a foul. That's Alexander's second consecutive foul.
I was watching Coach Dixon. I couldn't tell if he wanted to kick it back out to the top of the key or if he wanted Karan to drive the lane like that. Unclear to me.
So now Davis line left, puts it on the way, rim, it popped out. Halfway down and it popped back out.
Karan's typically a very good free throw shooter too.
Second attempt on the way, and Davis split a pair. Give him 9. 41-25. The comeback has started. Planutis out of the double team. Now for West. Runs it lane, shovels it off to Rainey, punches it down for the baseline right.
If Coppin State wants to run that press like they did, defensive press, they're going to have to seal both sides of the paint with the other men.
43-25. Mount St. Mary's closing in on 13 minutes to go. Thomas. Far side right to Davis. Davis. Back to Thomas. Runs it left of the lane. Got caught in space. Threw it away. It was intended for Andrews Fulton.
Coach
left
Dixon,
to right comes Carey.
Coach Dixon wanted that ball to the middle of the paint. That's where he wants it.
Alexander to Ray. Ducks in. Floats it up off the glass and good. Chris Ray now with 4. And the lead is 20 at 45-25. 12:35 to go. Davis now for Thomas. Thomas out of the double team. Finds Traore head of the key. Lane, dump it down, and Andrews Fulton will finish with the right hand.
Mount St. Mary's now going to a two-man trap as soon as Coppin State comes over the line.
45-27. Mount St. Mary's. West wants his second 3 of the game. Out of the hands of Andrews Fulton on the rebound. Now for Davis. Davis runs back, top side left. Bounce it off to Traore. Runs it in the lane. Swings it back out right corner. Morgan wants a 3. Front of the rim, no good. West the rebound. Shovels it back now to Carey. Carey brings it left to right to the time stripe. That comes to 11:50 and counting here in the second half. Around the Ray screen. Reverse it off head of the key. Alexander goes wide to the right. Thomas, the loose ball. He'll bring it back across the time stripe for Coppin State. Right elbow face-up is on the way. Back of the rim. No. Andrews Fulton, what a rebound through the double team. Turns to his right. Ray just hooked him and says, yep, I fouled him.
Tremendous effort that time by Andrews Fulton.
Ray picks up his second. Gomes and Robinson set to check in. They will on the other side of the timeout. 11:28 to go, second half. It's now Mount St. Mary's 45, Coppin State 27. Back in 60 seconds on the Coppin State Sports Network.
Don't forget, if you need a limo, sedan, coach bus, or maybe a party bus, you need service, contact American Limousines, proud bus provider and sponsor of Coppin Athletics. American Limousines, your one stop for any event. Back to you, Todd.
Well, speaking of stops, Coppin needs some stops with 11:28 to go to get back in this one, down 45-27.
Coppin State shooting 26.9 from the floor. And Mount St. Mary's at 40%. Leading scorer, Junior Robinson, with 11 points so far. Greg Alexander at 9. On the other side for Coppin, Karan Davis, he has 9.
So Andrews Fulton at the free throw line.
This is his first trip.
Puts it on the way and good. Give him 5, make it 45-28. Well, if you can score with time stopped and then get a stop with time moving, see if they can get back in it. 45-29, Mount St. Mary's after 2. Chad Andrews Fulton, free throws. Robinson to the forecourt. Now Alexander topside right. Ball screen handoff. Back to West. Coming to his right. Now back to his left. Shovels it back to Robinson. Top side of the right. They'll dump it in. for a left-hand hook for Gomes. Andrews Fulton had it and then knocked away. He's checking for teeth. He got popped by Gomes. That's his third.
They got Gomes that time for the personal. It's been close all night like that. Gomes has been hanging around the back a lot, but this time he gets caught and picks up his third foul. Goes right to the bench, and Chris Ray will check in for him.
So the Mount matches up full court. Man for man in their trap. Traore gets it into Davis, throws over the top of the double team, now to Thomas. Thomas to the center of the floor, picked off. Planutis is fouled, or make that a double dribble.
Double dribble. You don't see that call very much.
Almost never. They say when he caught that, and as soon as he put it down on the floor, that was the double dribble. Planutis can't believe it. Apparently that's the first time in his career that's ever happened.
Mount St. Mary's backs off the press now.
Thomas now to Davis. Under 11 minutes to go, second half, 45-29. Mountaineers with the lead. Stripped away. It's going to be Andrews Fulton to Thomas. Thomas went up. Ray whacked the backboard, and it's going the other way. Last touch by Andrews Fulton out of bounds.
Heavy contact there.
Inbound comes to Robinson. Robinson now left to right across the time stripe into the forecourt. Defended by Morgan. Bouncing off high left, now to West. Back to Robinson. Robinson coming right to the Ray screen. Step back out of the double team. Morgan got a hand on it, knocked it out of bounds with 15 to shoot.
Nice block by Morgan that time. Lamar was right there in his face and slapped it out of bounds.
Robinson from the baseline looking. Gets it into Ray, and he may have stoved a finger on that catch. 12 to shoot, and Robinson is bumped off the near sideline. It's on Andrews Fulton, that's his first. You could hear his finger pop on that catch. So the inbounder will be West with 10:28 to go. Mount St. Mary's leading Coppin State 45-29. Inbound comes to Robinson, head of the key. Turns right. Comes back to his left. Backs it out between the rings. To the right of the Ray screen, and we've got contact again.
It's going to be on Morgan.
That's his second. Now, I believe that came on the screener, to be honest with you, as he was trying to fight through the screen. So now West to inbound. Gets it in now to Robinson. Robinson just inside the arc. Backs it out head of the key. Ray shovels it back left corner. Planutis back head of the key to West. West backs it out with the right hand. 7 to shoot. It comes back to Robinson right of the jump circle. Ducks under Morgan. Launches a three and buried it. He's got 14.
Great ball movement that time by the Mountaineers. Set Robinson up for that score.
48-29. Mount St. Mary's. Davis to the doorstep. Andrews Fulton got fouled. No call. Put it on the iron. No tap. Follow. Glass and good.
Goodness gracious. Planutis had planted right on top of Andrews Fulton and no call.
Makes it 48-31. Mount St. Mary's. 9.5 to go. Robinson being defended by Morgan. Two high screens come out beyond the arc. Robinson to the doorstep. Glass and good again. He's got 16. 50-31, Mount St. Mary's. Now for Thomas. Thomas to Davis. Into the forecourt, far side right. Now to Thomas. Thinking about a three. Back to Davis. Now to Thomas. Trey will launch the three. Right of the rim, no good. And I believe Traore was fouled going for the rebound. It's on Alexander. That's his third.
DeAndre Fair back in the game.
Hobway is checked back in for Mount St. Mary's.
And Thomas will sit down for the Eagles.
So Traore on the 7th team foul on the Mountaineers steps in. Front end on the way. Rim, it lipped off. Planutis the rebound, hands it off to Robinson. Robinson now to the jump circle. Goes left of the Ray screen, steps inside the arc, launches that long jumper, rimming off to Andrews Fulton. Gives it up to Morgan, up the right side now to Davis. Davis hits a trailer. Morgan wants that deep three and drained it.
Deep three is a very accurate description, my friend. That was not, what do you figure, 34, 35 feet?
2 steps beyond the U in that half-court logo. He was well between the rings, as we like to say. Makes it 50-34. Mount St. Mary's closing in on the 8-minute mark. Planutis on the catch left. Goes strong on Traore. Deflected, got it back, then threw it out of bounds.
Planutis put it up there. He was slapped right back in his hands, and he just slung it out of bounds.
Carey and Antonio check back in. West will exit along with Planutis. That comes with 8:04 to go.
Antonio hasn't played much tonight. He has very fewer minutes than most of the starters.
Yeah, that 3-point field goal early on, and then he's been doing a lot of sitting. Andrews Fulton now to Fair. Davis has it, back to Fair. He wants a three off the right wing, rim it off, and the ball will bounce out of bounds. And come back to Mount St. Mary's with a 50-34 lead at the 7:46 mark of the second half. We're back after a 60-second timeout on the Coppin State Sports Network.
Well, as expected, Junior Robinson has led all scorers tonight as Mount St. Mary's leads 50-34. Robinson was an all-Northeast Conference selection in each of the past 2 seasons, and he was the NEC All-Tournament team, on the All-Tournament team, after scoring 22 last season in their championship win over St. Francis.
That is St. Francis U.
St. Francis U.
Because there is St. Francis
yes,
Brooklyn.
Yes, there is.
In the NEC. That's where the Mount calls home.
Robinson has 16 points on the night.
So between the rings with it. Abway hands it off near side of the right. Deflected away from Carey. Guess who? Robinson tracks it down. He'll back it out with 13 to shoot. Back between the rings with 10. Coming right to the Ray screen. Gives it back to Ray. He traveled, stepping to the free throw line. Gave it up to Hobway. Glass no good. Rebound, Traore. Traore uncontested down to the forecourt. Right side to Fair. Fair hands it off to Andrews Fulton. Gave it up to Traore. Power bounce to the lane. Punched it down with the left hand.
Nice assist by Andrews Fulton. He found Karan Davis floating down the left-hand side of the paint, and he slams it home.
So 50-36, Mount St. Mary's with less than 7 to go. Carey with it between the rings. Steps right. Bounce it back to Ray. Tough catch. Swings it back to Robinson. Deep three off the left wing. Good. Robinson with 19. Makes it 53-36, Mount St. Mary's. Fair. Reverse it off to Davis. Davis now to the forecourt. Gave it up to Morgan. Morgan back to Davis. Davis back to Morgan. It deflects off his body into the backcourt, and that will be over and back.
I think Morgan had taken his eye off that for a second, and the pass came from Davis. Couldn't handle it. He's really frustrated right now about that.
Inbounder will be Carey. Now for Robinson. Robinson goes right to that Ray screen. Bounce it weak side of the right to the doorstep, and scoring is Hobway. 55-36, Mount St. Mary's. Now to Morgan between the rings. Right side Davis. Gave it up to Andrews Fulton. Nice diagonal into the lane, intended for Traore. Deflected out of bounds. Last touch by Mount St. Mary's. Council replaces Traore in the Coppin State lineup. Davis will inbound from the baseline. 16 to shoot. Gets it into Morgan. Left corner three is on the way. Buries it. Morgan with 13. He was trying to garner the 4-point play. Makes it 55-39. No foul call.
He hit the floor hard, too, that time, Todd.
Robinson, left of the Ray screen. At the free throw line. The face-up is good again. Robinson now with 21.
The Eagles get a leg up, and then boom. Right back. Robinson's right back at you.
57-39, Mountaineers. Morgan on the catch, now for Davis into the forecourt. Lob it left corner, Fair, out of the double team, down to Council. Blocked from behind by Ray. Andrews Fulton tried to keep it alive. Last touch by the Mount, out of bounds.
Good hustle from Andrews Fulton. Had he not deflected that ball against the Mount St. Mary defender, the Mount would have the ball right now. Instead, it goes to the Eagles.
Here comes Planutis back in. He'll replace Jonah Antonio for the Mountaineers. Davis gets it into Morgan. Morgan tried to turn right. Planutis with the reach-in foul. That's his first. Over the limit is Mount St. Mary, so it sends Morgan free throw line left. Frere set to check in. He'll do that right now, replace Fair. That gets Alexander back in the lineup, replacing Hobway. Morgan lined left, puts it on the way, and it's good. He's got 14. Makes it 57-40. Mount St. Mary's with the lead. Second Morgan free throw is good.
Lamar is perfect 15 from the line tonight at 4 for 4.
So it's 57-41. Mount St. Mary's and Robinson taking the air out of the basketball as he brings it left to right around that Ray screen again. Left side, Planutis wants that three ball. It's on the way and good. 60-41 Mount. Up the right side, Frere runs it into traffic. Now to Council, back to Davis. Davis top side left. Bounce it off to Andrews Fulton. Kick out right corner. Three ball on the way, and it comes wide left out of the hand of Frere. Tracked down by Robinson. 4:28 to go. Morgan draws the task of defending Robinson. Robinson goes line, lane, shovels it off to Ray, and he'll punch it home again with two hands. 62-41, Mount St. Mary's, 4:12 to go. Timeout, Coppin State. We're back after a 30-second timeout on the Coppin State Sports Network.
Well, as expected, Junior Robinson, he's lit it up tonight, Todd. He has 21 points, Mount St. Mary's 62, Coppin State 41 with only 4:12 left.
Yeah, he's got 14 of the points here in the second half for the Mount as they took a 33-21 lead at the break. They lead 62-41, as you mentioned a moment ago, and we talked about it with this 29-20 second half. That first 4 to 6 minute stretch, and they did nothing to relinquish the lead.
Coppin State with 13 turnovers, and Mount St. Mary's has played a whale of a game there. Only 8 so far tonight. Any night you play under 10 on turnovers, you're doing good.
Substitutions, we'll just give them to you in real time. Fair will inbound from the far end of the floor. Gets it into Thomas. Thomas draws the double team, floats it back to Davis. Davis into the forecourt now, draws the double team for a moment. Now to Thomas, left of the jump circle. Now back to Davis. Davis now to Morgan, back to Davis. Step in three off the right wing, right of the rim, no good. Tracked down by Ray. He'll hand it off to Robinson.
I don't think Karan wanted to take that shot, but he couldn't find anybody underneath.
Robinson in the jump circle. Defended again by Morgan. Goes around the Ray screen to the left. Lost it on the way up. Deflected away by Hardwick. Davis runs it right of the lane, fights it up. Deflected and last touch by Ray out of bounds. He was looking to kick it out and couldn't find anybody again.
And he ran out of room as he was on the way out.
When we come back after the final media timeout, it comes at 3:30 to go. Coppin will have 25 seconds on the shot clock. They trail Mount St. Mary's 62-41. Back after this 60-second timeout on the Coppin State Sports Network.
Only 3:30 left. Mount St. Mary's 62, Coppin State 41. Now it's inbound. Here's Todd.
Dan, thank you very kindly. Now it's back to Morgan, top side right. Swings it to Fair. Left side, Davis to the baseline. Kick it out to Thomas. Reverse it off to Morgan. You got Robinson flying off his feet and buries a deep three right side. Lamar Morgan now with 18.
Nice fake by Morgan, and Robinson went about 8 feet the other way.
62-44, Mount St. Mary's. Robinson throws it up to the rim. Ray tried to hammer it home. Then he gets tied up by Morgan, who is called for his third personal foul.
Tell Lamar instead of celebrating, he's on the ball.
Comes at 3:04 to go. So next up is a road trip to Georgia Tech on Wednesday the 27th for Coppin State. Mount St. Mary's has a conference game at Wagner on Friday the 29th. At 7. Off the inbound, Ray on the catch. Right to the doorstep, and he hammers it home again.
Ray was wide open that time. Defensive lapse there by the Eagles.
64-44, Mount St. Mary's. 2:50 to go. Davis back to Morgan. Morgan back to Davis. Davis back to Morgan, top side left. Swings it back. Davis wants a deep three, good. His first field goal since the first half. Give him 12 in the game. 64-47 and a foul on the Eagles.
They tied you to a two-man trap there on Robinson.
Thomas picks up his third.
Now Thomas was over-guarding a little bit. They had Robinson trapped there, but a little bit too strong.
Robinson from the sideline to inbound. Bouncing in now to Carey. Carey back to Robinson. Robinson fakes to his right. Lob to the forecourt now to Alexander. Gave it up to a cutting Carey. Gave it back to Planutis. Runs right baseline. Threw it up to the window. No good. Ray tracks it down. He's trying to back it out. He will to Robinson with 2:15 to go. Shot clock to 12. Robinson now backs it all the way out. Left of the jump circle. Defended by Morgan. Planutis pops out. Sets the screen. Robinson goes left with 4. Down to 3. Runs it up to the rack. Left it well short. Thomas the rebound. of the missed shot. As you heard the horn, the shot clock running out. It's Robinson second. It comes with 2:02 to go.
Thomas will shoot the free throws for the Eagles.
Coppin will close out the non-conference portion of the schedule on Saturday the 30th at Penn State in the Bryce Jordan Center. 1 p.m. tip-off.
Trey Thomas, a senior, 6'3", from Largo, Maryland. You know what his favorite food is? I do. Saw it in the bio. Crab legs. He's a Maryland kind of guy.
Well, that's my question. Do you go crab legs or crab cakes? He goes crab legs.
He liked crab legs.
So Thomas knocks down the front end, make it 64-48. Mount St. Mary's. Rim it off. Rebound to Hardwick. Kick out right side. Fair thought about a three. Had it blocked by Ray. Reverse it off to Davis. Davis curls in the lane. Kick it out to Morgan left corner. Coming strong to the lane. Got bodied off by Alexander. No whistle and a turnover. 64-48. Mount St. Mary's, a minute 40 to go. Carey's got it. Coming around that Ray screen. Swings it near side to the right for Alexander. And a player control foul. Alexander, I believe, with his fourth.
I believe Alexander just threw it out of bounds, Todd.
The way the far side official signaled, for all the world, I thought that was a player control foul. On the turnover, here comes Davis. Under 90 seconds to go. Gave it back to Morgan. He wanted that deep three again. Now for Davis, left wing. Power dribble in the lane, dump it off to the doorstep, and ramming it home with two hands is Hardwick. Wave off the dunk. He was fouled. Oh, he did wave it. He waved it in. Alexander with his fourth. We're playing the NBA continuation rule tonight, my friend.
That was great effort from Hardwick that time. He just powered his way to the basket. Only a freshman, 6'7".
Three-point play attempt on the way. Good for Hardwick. We'll take it. 64-51. 1:17 to go. Robinson picks it up. Gave it to Carey. Carey throws out of the double team. Planutis with it. Runs into the forecourt with 70 seconds to go. Gave it up to Carey, and a timeout, I believe, Mount St. Mary's called by one of their players with 1:09 to go. We'll keep it right here, 22 to shoot, as it's a 30-second timeout call. Let's go back to the dunk by Hardwick.
Power move. He powered right through, and it was impressive. Like to see more of that. He hasn't had that much playing time this year.
Now, would you agree the contact came well early into that play?
Yes, yes.
Counted and one. Okay. So out of the Mount St. Mary's timeout to save the possession, it remains 64-51. Mount St. Mary's, 69 seconds to go. Bobby Planutis from the far side to inbound. 22 on the shot clock. Inbound to Carey in the backcourt. Defended by Fair. Now to the forecourt. And we're into the final minute of play. Shot clock to 10. Ray set another screen. He'll catch it head of the key. Swings it right side Alexander. Trying to split a double team. Fights up a 15-footer. Rim it off. Rebound to Morgan. Outlet now for Davis. Davis, line, lane, gave it up to Hardwick. That time he'll ram it home.
That was a carbon copy of the last play. Hardwick slammed it home with authority.
64-53. Mount. Robinson fighting with Trey Thomas in transition. Thomas picks up his fourth.
You got to stop that clock, do the best you can, and Trey had no other alternative to do that. Not a shooting foul, though.
It comes with 34.9 to go. Shot clock rolled down to 24. Planutis in front of his bench to inbound. Defended by Karan Davis. Inbound to Robinson. Morgan wanted that steal in a worse way, didn't he?
Got to stop the clock here.
So now Robinson's got it. Morgan reaches in. Robinson to the far side, 13 to shoot. And now Morgan fouls with 21.5 to go. And for good measure, Robinson fires up a three and drains it. Wave off the field goal make. Keep it 64-53.
Well, you got to stop the clock. You've only got less than a minute. Now we're down to 21-5.
So now Robinson will step into the free throw line with 21.5 seconds remaining. Mount St. Mary's up 64-53.
He's 3 for 4 for the night. Make that 4 for 5.
He's got 22 in the game. 65-54. Mountaineers. Second one's on the way, good. Robinson now with 23. 66-53, Mount St. Mary's. Morgan to Thomas, now to the forecourt. 13 seconds to go. Hands it off to Morgan between the rings. Deep three on the way again. Wide left, picked up by Ray. He doesn't even have to cross the time stripe. 3 seconds to go, stolen by Davis. Davis fights one up, glass no, and that's how this one will end. Mount St. Mary's defeats Coppin State 66-53. Here at the Physical Education Complex. With the win, Mount St. Mary's is now 6-7 on the year. Coppin State still looking for that first win on the year as they will head to Georgia Tech on the 27th of December before heading to Penn State on Saturday the 30th for a 1 p.m. tip-off. So with that, we'll send it out for a timeout, bring you back with our Buffalo Wild Wings post-game show. Run the numbers for you after this on the Coppin State Sports Network.